The barcode won't scan. The title doesn't exist in any database. And the librarian's hands are shaking because she's seen this classification before in classified military files. Welcome to Oldlight Stories, but first, let me tell you what happened at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday that changed everything Sarah Martinez thought she knew about her quiet life. Sarah had been scanning returned books for 3 hours at Riverside Public Library. Same routine she'd followed religiously for 12 years. Red light, beep, stack to the left. Red light, beep, stack to the left. The afternoon shift was always peaceful, just her, the humming fluorescent lights, and the occasional patron browsing the fiction section. Then she picked up a thin, unmarked volume that someone had left in the return slot. Black cover, worn edges, no visible title or author name. The scanner wouldn't read it. She tried again, adjusting the angle. Nothing. The red light flickered but no beep. That's weird, she muttered, flipping the book over. On the back cover, stamped in faded ink, barely visible against the black material, was a string of letters and numbers. Classifeed, MK Ultra, Project Bluebird, DOD, 1973, terminated. Sarah's blood went cold. Her hands started trembling. She'd seen those exact words before, 20 years ago, when she'd worked as a file clerk for the Department of Defense. Before she'd moved to this small town. Before she'd become a librarian. Before she'd tried to forget everything she'd seen in those basement filing rooms. MK Ultra was supposed to be ancient history. Every document destroyed. Every participant with shaking fingers. Sarah opened the book. Page 1 contained a single paragraph in typewriter font. Subject termination protocols. Level 5 clearance required. Dr. Marcus Harrison, lead researcher. If you are reading this, the cover-up has failed and the truth needs to be exposed. This wasn't supposed to exist. The MK Ultra files had been destroyed in 1973, 2 years before she was even born. She'd helped burn some of the remaining documents herself in 2003, right before leaving the DoD, but here it was, in her quiet suburban library, checked out yesterday by someone named J. Mitchell, a name that didn't exist in their patron database. She'd already checked. Sarah flipped through more pages. Names, dates, locations. Human experimentation details that made her stomach turn. And photos, dozens of photos of people she recognized from missing persons reports from the 1960s and 70s. Sarah reached for her phone to call her supervisor when the library's main door chimed. The sound echoed differently than usual, somehow more ominous. A man in a dark suit walked in, mid-40s, clean-shaven, empty hands. He didn't browse the new releases display. He didn't check the community bulletin board. He walked straight toward her desk with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where he was going. "Ms. Martinez," he said calmly, stopping directly in front of her workstation. "I believe you have something that belongs to us." Sarah's heart pounded. Her name tag just said Sarah. She'd never told him her last name. The library's patron database didn't show her full name to the public. And she'd never seen this man before in her life. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" she managed to say, closing the book and sliding it slightly behind her computer monitor. "Agent Collins, Department of National Security," he said, producing a badge that looked official but somehow too new, too pristine. "That book was reported missing from a secure facility this morning. We've been tracking its location through various channels." Sarah's mind raced. "Someone checked this out yesterday. The name in our system is J. Mitchell." Agent Collins's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. "There is no J. Mitchell, Ms. Martinez. That identity was created by someone who knows exactly what they're looking for. Someone with intimate knowledge of the documents contained in that book." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Ms. Comperdas Comperdot and forth. Martinez, this book contains details about government operations that were supposed to stay buried forever. Someone is using your library as a distribution point to expose state secrets that could compromise national security." Sarah felt the room spinning slightly. "But how is that possible? We're just a small-town library. We don't deal with classified materials." "But how do you know my full name?" Sarah asked, the question that had been nagging at her since he'd walked in. Collins smiled, but it wasn't reassuring. Because Sarah Elena Martinez, former Department of Defense file clerk, security clearance level 3, employment terminated December 15th, 2003 for personal reasons, you were supposed to forget what you saw in those files. All of it. Sarah's world tilted. They'd been watching her for 20 years, tracking her from Washington to this small Indiana town where she'd hoped to disappear into anonymity. The person who planted this book, Collins continued, they know about your past. They know about your DoD clearance. They're using you specifically to authenticate the contents, to give credibility to information that was classified at the highest levels. Sarah's mouth went dry. What are you talking about? Someone wants you to remember, Miss So. Martinez. Someone wants you to verify that what's in this book is real. Collins opened the book to the last page, revealing handwritten text in blue ink. For Sarah M., you helped hide this once. Now help expose it. The truth deserves to see daylight. Your old friend, Dr. Marcus Harrison. Sarah gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Dr. Harrison had been her direct supervisor at the DoD. He'd been the one who'd explained why certain files needed to be destroyed, why certain experiments could never be acknowledged. He died in a car accident in January 2004, just 1 month after she'd left the department. Or so she'd been told. Dr. Harrison is very much alive, Ms. Martinez, and he's been leaving breadcrumbs for 20 years, waiting for the right person to find them. Waiting for someone with the knowledge to understand what they were looking at. Collins closed the book deliberately. The question is, are you going to help us locate Dr. 17's verses, Harrison, and retrieve the remaining documents? Or are you going to help him expose secrets that could fundamentally alter public trust in government institutions? Sarah looked at the book, then at Collins, then at the security cameras mounted in corners she'd never really noticed before. Had they always been there? I need to ask you something, she said quietly, her voice steadier than she felt. If this book doesn't exist in any official database, and J. Mitchell doesn't exist in our patron system, and Dr. Harrison is supposed to be dead, how did you know to come here today? How did you know I'd found it? Collins' confident smile faded slightly. Because, Miss Martinez, you're not the only person Dr. Harrison has been contacting. And this library isn't the only place these books have appeared. We've had similar incidents in Phoenix, Denver, and Portland over the past 6 months. He placed a business card on her desk. When you're ready to learn the whole truth about what you helped cover up 20 years ago, call me. But understand, once you make that call, there's no going back to your quiet librarian life. As he walked toward the exit, Sarah noticed something that made her blood run cold. The business card he'd left was completely blank. No name, no number, no agency logo, nothing. That night, Sarah went home and did something she hadn't done in 20 years. She searched online for Dr. 40 Devon, Dr. 40 Devon, 720 years. Marcus Harrison car accident 2004. She found the obituary in the Washington Post, the funeral notice, the death certificate from the D.C. Medical Examiner's office. But she also found something else that made her hands shake all over again. A library checkout record from Phoenix Public Library, dated 3 days ago. Another book, another impossible return. Zama patron name, J. Mitchell. And in the librarian's notes section, a single comment. Patron claimed book was already overdue when checked out. System shows no previous record. Sometimes the most dangerous secrets aren't hidden in government vaults or classified databases locked away in underground facilities. Sometimes they're sitting on library shelves in small towns, waiting for the right person to scan them into a system that will alert everyone you'd hoped had forgotten your name. Dr. Harrison was building a network, and Sarah was just the beginning. Have you ever stumbled across information you weren't supposed to see? Information that made you question everything you thought you knew about your own past? Share your story in the comments below. Subscribe to Oldlight Stories for more mysteries that blur the line between fiction and classified reality. Because sometimes the truth is stranger than any story we could imagine.